Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Constable Claude Chansey, Public Information Officer with the Winnipeg Police Service. Earlier, we released an update regarding the investigation and subsequent search warrant of a psilocybin dispensary in Osborne Village. I'm joined today by Commander of the Organized Crime Division, Inspector Alton Hall, who will provide additional insight into the matter and be available to answer questions afterward. Inspector.
Good afternoon. I'm going to provide an overview of the psilocybin arrest on Friday, but more importantly, I think this is a good opportunity to provide some awareness and education about illegal dispensaries and why we have an issue with it and what the risks associated to these dispensaries are. So just quickly, on May 13th, the Drug Enforcement Unit was notified that drug trafficking was occurring within a store in the 100 block of Osborne Street. Concerns were raised by members of the public in relation to this operation. As a result, the Drug Enforcement Unit entered into a Controlled Drugs and Substances Act investigation. During the investigation, police seized and obtained evidence consistent with drug trafficking. As the investigation continued, police determined that a second location was being utilized to store psilocybin and money. As well, it was learned that psilocybin was being trafficked in from another province. On May 19th, CDSA search warrants were executed in the 100 block of Osborne Street and a 300 block of Waterfront Drive. As well, a 2018 Mercedes-Benz was seized by Winnipeg Police. As a result, a male in his 30s and a female in her 30s were arrested and charged with possessing a controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance for the purpose of trafficking, and proceeds of crime. Investigators seized approximately $16,500 in Canadian currency and roughly $10,000 in psilocybin. Investigators also learned that 4 boxes were shipped in the previous week leading up to the search warrants, the last box weighing 18 pounds. It's believed these boxes contain psilocybin. As I speak to you right now, we are seizing a 5th box that was destined for Waterfront Drive. This box weighing 13 pounds. So I want to describe both the location of this dispensary and the operation. I think this is one of the few times we can use this as a learning opportunity for the public and why we have concerns with these pop-up storefronts and illegal dispensaries. So the illegal dispensary itself. The front of the location was open to customers with the rear of the location under construction. The garbage pile was located on the floor at the rear of this location in which trash and rubbish, including broken drywall and used building materials, were placed. These items contained chemicals harmful for human consumption. The location did not have a bathroom or separate area with access to plumbing. Psilocybin was being placed onto the dirty floor and weighed beside the rubbish pile before being packaged. The janitor who was packaging the psilocybin did not wear gloves or a mask and did not have a clean surface to package the drugs. As I said, these were being packaged on the floor beside the rubbish pile. There was nowhere to wash hands before, during, or after packaging the psilocybin, and there was no evidence that gloves were used and no hand cleaner was located. I would describe this location as being very unsanitary. The operation itself. Psilocybin was being received in bulk quantities, separated, weighed, and packaged on the floor of the location. We allege that people were paying various prices for a single strain of psilocybin. These packages were marked and sold as different identifiable strains, ultimately deceiving customers buying the psilocybin. The packaging was ordered separately. The psilocybin was not prepackaged. The highest price for psilocybin was $125. Lowest price was $50. Again, this is for a single strain. Edibles and pills were also seized and have been sent to Health Canada for examination. Money was stored within reach of the customers. Identification was not requested at the time of purchase. A worker indicated that she did not have a lot of experience with psilocybin and was just learning. The ATM was positioned by the window of the location, providing an opportunity for a smash and grab. The operation was advertised that they accepted cash only. This after an individual was in the media saying they were running an illegal psilocybin dispensary and that cash was only on site. Very unsafe in the city to do that. There was a reachable locking device on the entrance door, potentially locking staff and customers within a store if a robbery was to occur. So here's the response from myself. People cannot arbitrarily break the law anytime they feel it's not fair or they don't agree with it. Law enforcement cannot be expected to turn a blind eye to lawlessness and allow individuals to openly traffic scheduled drugs in contravention of the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. This is not how law and order works in Canadian society. By taking no action, police allow the floodgates to open, jeopardizing the safety of many. Although I believe there is merit to decriminalization and I support that initiative, we need to be clear that decriminalization and drug trafficking are not one and the same. This is not a gray market. This is, by definition, the black market. It's illegal, and it's defined in the criminal code as trafficking a controlled substance. Psilocybin is a Schedule III controlled drug, and Health Canada has not approved psilocybin for recreational use. The Winnipeg Police Drug Unit and Organized Crime Unit will not tolerate illicit, open market drug trafficking to occur under the guise of a storefront or dispensary. We won't allow this for the reasons that I've just detailed. These operations are unsafe, and they're dangerous for customers, and at the end of the day, it's illegal. The decriminalization of personal use drugs and drug trafficking should not be associated. They are not one and the same. In my opinion, this storefront advertised their illegal activity while at the same time indicating cash should be readily available, putting themselves and placing their customers in danger of a violent encounter. Furthermore, I would argue that customers were deceived as the psilocybin was marketed and sold as specific strains while potentially providing health benefits. It should be noted that no certified medical personnel were present at this location. Also, there was no hygienic process in place to handle and package the psilocybin. More importantly, as I've mentioned, Health Canada has not approved the sale or recreational use for psilocybin at this time. People who choose to use psilocybin or any other illicit drug should exercise caution, as you do not know where the drug is originated from, as I've detailed here, how it was processed and packaged, which we've described here, or if the drug is being sold as advertised, which it wasn't here. Illicit drugs are routinely laced with unknown addictive agents unbeknownst to the user. Again, for the record, I support the idea of decriminalization, but decriminalization does not provide an avenue for illicit drug trafficking. They are not one and the same. In closing, I hope this provides some clarity and highlights the issues and safety concerns that the Winnipeg Police have with rogue drug dispensaries. The investigation's ongoing, so I probably won't have a lot of details about the investigation, but any other questions I'd be able to take at this time. We do, yeah. No. The two individuals arrested? They reside here in Winnipeg. Yeah. I don't know if they pay taxes, but they live in Winnipeg. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but obviously if you have drywall dust and other building material particles and stains and oils and things of that nature, like this was a construction site. It was dirty. I've described as disgusting, quite frankly, that drugs were being packaged right beside a pile of rubbish like this. So very harmful. You don't know what's in the drug or if there's drywall dust in there or any other particles of anything. Well, they weren't checking ID, so I don't know who they were selling to. I mean, obviously the traffic was busy. I said on Friday we probably observed close to 200 people in and out of there. No, during that time we didn't see like children going in clearly, but they weren't checking ID. Correct. They were using that's a conveyance vehicle. Yeah. It's not reopened yet. I know there was, I mean, you guys, like the media had talked to some other people, and there was indications that, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, that they were maybe challenging this, but I should be clear that we're going to shut it down. There's no gray area here. This is illegal and against the law, and we have an obligation to prevent this from happening. And as I've just pointed out, we've just proven to people in Winnipeg that this is dangerous. The operation was dangerous. It's very unsanitary. People are buying drugs that clearly could have something else in it, and they're not advertising what they're selling. They're selling a single strain of psilocybin and advertising and charging different amounts, saying it's something else. Um, when they were on the verge of legalizing cannabis, we had a handful of stores try it here, and we shut them down before it was legalized. I know in Ontario, these are popping up and they're getting shut down by police. I know um, some talk that it's just being allowed to run. It's not. They're shutting it down. Some run longer than others. There was a warrant, I think, just a couple days ago in Ontario where psilocybin dispensary was shut down, and there was handguns and all kinds of other things in there. So these are run by drug networks, organized crime figures, drug traffickers. They're not legal. They're dangerous, and people shouldn't be using these to get psilocybin. That investigation's continuing. Yeah. One had some involvement with police a while ago. I wouldn't describe them as, it wasn't organized crime related or anything like that. It was totally separate. I don't know. I mean, judging that 4 boxes came in and one weighed 18 pounds and the one we seized today is going to be 13 pounds. That's quite a bit. They were running out of product, going back to the Waterfront Drive address, getting more and bringing it back. Probably part of it is so they don't get robbed and lose everything. The other part of it is they were selling a lot very quickly. Correct. Yeah, it's an ongoing investigation.
You said that they did a rare investigation.
Mhm. So it was brought to our attention on the 13th. As I said on Friday, we were going to do a soft approach to it. We were going to go into the business and indicate that they had maybe an hour or two to shut down and end this dispensary, and decide if we were going to take legal action. I believe it was the day after there were people in the media openly promoting what was going on, and essentially indirectly saying that police should turn a blind eye to it, which is never going to happen. It was at that point that the decision was made to run a full-scale drug investigation. In order to run a drug investigation, you have to prove, obviously, that they're trafficking and drugs are going in and out of there. So as that was going on, it took a couple of days to do that, and then we had to wait for legal authorization to obtain the warrants. Obviously, Manitoba Justice has to be on board, so we discussed with the Crown attorneys as well. It's not ideal. Like I lost sleep at night over it. Like when you advertise that you're selling drugs and you have money at that location, you're setting yourself up for a robbery or a really violent event. So definitely not an easy 6 days to wait for a warrant to be executed, but it took some time. I think I can tell you that the janitor was identified and released. He's new to the country, and I think we have maybe some other issues there of this individual being taken advantage of. Like he kind of understood that this probably wasn't right, but was kind of confused as to what was going on. We're not gonna arrest him and charge him. He clearly really doesn't know what's going on. There's a second female that has not been arrested who was working in there. Yeah, the individual is new to the country. I clearly kind of understood it wasn't right, but at the same time was, maybe this is what we do here. I don't know. Like it's he had to kind of figure it out, but he's not going to be charged. He was just identified. Correct. None. Well, it was delivered today. I hope so. We'll monitor.
The charges in this case here, can you give us an idea of how big that would be? Like, is this a fine? Is this a
Yeah, I don't know. Really, it's going to go to a Crown attorney, and they're going to decide how they want to handle this. I mean, take away the fact that this is a overt way of trafficking drugs and using a storefront to legitimize it. Bottom line is it's drug trafficking, and it's interprovincial drug trafficking, and that's the way we're looking at it right now. So, I'd be honest, I never interfere with what the Crown attorneys do. I let them do their thing, and they're the experts in going to court and processing cases. We provide them the evidence. They decide if they want to process. I believe they're, well, I mean, we've talked to the Crown attorney. They're on board. Their response was, this is illegal, and make an arrest. So wait to see what happens. I can tell you that we're getting it from another province in Canada right now. That's right. And whoever owns this ATM should probably call us. I think you want your money, and we have a couple questions for you. Yeah, we're not looking to charge anyone there. They've somebody's placed an ATM in there. From a policing perspective, I know they're not oblivious to what's going on, but we have no desire to charge anybody. We want to get the ATM back to them. No, there's no indication of that. I mean, I during the interview, comments are made. I mean, people have ideologies or ideas or beliefs, which is why I said, I kind of talked about the law in Canada. There's a law, like we have to enforce it. I really don't care what anyone's opinion is of it or what they think of the law or what should be legal or not. I mean, when Health Canada says it's legal and doctors with 12 years of schooling say, okay, it's time we can legalize this, so be it. But no, I mean, we haven't heard of any more being opened up right now, and I just want to make the point that we're going to shut them down. Like, it's very dangerous for the customers, and it's really not a smart business move by the people selling. You're just advertising that you have money and drugs there. Drug rips happen in the city all the time. It's the underworld. Just because you have a door or a window in front of you is not going to stop it. In fact, it probably creates more of an issue for you. We've sent everything. We send these drugs away to Health Canada for testing, so it takes a bit of time. So we'll know shortly if it's what kind of a strain of psilocybin. Is it mixed with anything else? Was it laced with anything? I mean, we've had no complaints from the customers, so I'm assuming it's probably just the one strain and no issues.
If the store does reopen,
We're shutting it down. Yes, and this time it'll be a continuation of the offense, and I'll be asking personally the Crown that they keep him in jail.